Season 1 of True Detective opens in the year 2012. Former homicide detectives and partners Marty, Hart, and Rust Cohle are brought in to give separate interviews with detectives Papania and Gilbough, after a recent murder features a similar crime scene to a case Marty and Rust had supposedly solved in 1995. Marty and Rust agree to share the details of their past investigation, while also being questioned on their tumultuous personal lives, the ending of their respective police careers, and the dissolution of not only their partnership, but their friendship. Back in 1995, Marty and Rust are new homicide partners assigned to investigate the murder of a prostitute named Dora Lange, whose body was found posed in a prayer with deer antlers adorned on her head like a crown, and surrounded by strange twig sculptures known as devil's nests. As Marty and Rust begin their investigation, they also become acclimated with each other as new partners. Marty is a good old boy family man, secretly cheating on his wife Maggie with a younger woman named Lisa. Rust is a philosophizing nihilist, coming off a long stint working undercover on a narcotics case that he threw himself into after the death of his daughter and dissolution of his marriage. Throughout his undercover mission, Rust became addicted to meth and was forced to go through psychiatric care to help him readjust to his normal life. As Marty and Rust's friendship grows, Rust is invited into Marty's family life, growing closer to Maggie as she begins to suspect Marty's affair. After having the truth confirmed to her by Lisa, Maggie moves herself and her daughters out of their family home. Rust manages to convince Maggie that Marty is a remorseful and changed man, leading to the couple reconciling. The Lange investigation quickly gains the attention of the media and the local government. Reverend Billy Lee Tuttle, a televangelist and the cousin of the governor, pressures the police to create an anti-Christian crime task force, which would focus on crimes against God, like the occult-like Lange murder. Despite pressure from Tuttle and the governor, Marty and Rust refuse to hand over their investigation to this new task force. In their investigation, Marty and Rust learn of a 5-year-old missing persons case for the child Marie Fontenot, which also contained the mysterious devil's nests. The same time as Marie's disappearance, another child told police that they had been chased through the woods by a green-eared spaghetti monster. They also learned that prior to her death, Lange was seen several times at church alongside a tall man with facial scars. Next, Marty and Rust discover a place known as the Ranch, which is actually a brothel comprised of runaway girls. Dora previously worked at the ranch, and after finding her diary, Marty and Rust discover that she repeatedly wrote about a place known as Carcosa and a figure known as the Yellow King. Marty and Rust then learn of another dead girl, Rianne Olivier, whose death was ruled accidental, but the crime scene contains similar cult-like symbols to the ones found around Dora Lange. Before her death, Rianne attended Light of the Way Academy, a Christian school run by Billy Lee Tuttle. When the partners go to investigate the school, they find it completely abandoned, save for a lone groundskeeper who can't offer any real help. Fortunately, the partners then discover that Rianne's boyfriend, Reggie Ledoux, had previously been incarcerated and was a cellmate with Dora Lange's ex-husband, Charlie. Charlie confesses to Marty and Rust that Reggie was a strange man who rambled about sacrificing children to the Yellow King. Marty and Rust learn that their new prime suspect, Reggie, makes meth for a biker gang known as the Iron Crusaders. Rust had past experience with the gang during his stint working undercover, and goes undercover once again to infiltrate the gang and learn more about Reggie's whereabouts. Marty and Russ learn of Reggie and his cousin DeWall's compound in the woods and go alone to take down their suspect. At the compound, the partners apprehend Reggie, who rambles to them about Carcosa, but when Marty discovers 2 kidnapped and abused children, he murders Reggie in cold blood. DeWall flees the scene but is killed by his own handmade booby traps. Rust helps Marty stage the scene as if a shootout took place, covering up Marty killing Reggie, and the partners are lauded as heroes for solving the Lange murder. In 2002, Marty and Rust remain partners and friends, including going on double dates with Maggie and Rust's new girlfriend Lori, but the detectives' lives are upended when a new murder suspect claims that Dora Lange's murderer is still at large and that he knows the Yellow King. When retracing their steps from the original Lange investigation, Marty and Rust discover that new devil's nests and symbols have secretly been placed at Dora's murder site and the abandoned Light of the Way Academy. Rust discovers that one of Tuttle's ministry's wellspring is actually connected to decades of missing children, and had previously obfuscated evidence of abuse by its leaders. Unfortunately, Marty sides with the department's new major in ordering Rust to stand down on reopening the closed case. Rust is later visited by Maggie, who has found out about Marty having another affair. Distraught, Maggie seduces Rust and sleeps with him, then confesses she was using him to officially end her marriage. When Marty finds out about the affair, he brutally attacks Rust outside of the police department. Instead of pressing charges, a defeated Rust retires from the police force and leaves the state. In 2012, detectives Papania and Gilbough revealed during their interviews that following Rust's return to town, many suspicious events, including the death of Reverend Tuttle, have occurred. Frustrated by the detectives' accusations, both Marty and Rust abandon their interviews. The two former partners then reunite a decade after their friendship-ending fight, and Rust reveals that he has found more evidence linking the Lange murder to a massive series of cult-like crimes, killings, and cover-ups. Rust plays Marty a videotape he previously stole from Tuttle's house that depicts adults in animal masks ritualistically assaulting and murdering Marie Fontenot. The disturbing tape convinces Marty to help his old partner solve this case once and for all. The two former detectives question a relative of Reggie Ledoux and a former employee of Tuttle, who reveal that Tuttle's father had an illegitimate child with the Childress family, eventually leading to a grandson with scars on his face. Marty and Rust then turn to Sheriff Geraci, who years ago was the investigator on Marie Fontenot's case. While holding Geraci at gunpoint, the man reveals that his boss at the time, Sheriff Ted Childress, had pressured him into dropping the investigation. Marty and Rust then discover that many houses close by the various victims had been painted green, which could explain the so-called green-eared spaghetti monster. And after looking into who painted the houses, the partners discover the work was done by a man named Billy Childress. Arriving at the Childress home, they discover that Billy has been killed and meet his son Errol and Errol's lover, Betty. The partners recognize the scarred Errol as the light-of-the-way groundskeeper, the green-eared spaghetti monster, Reggie Ledoux's leader, the true killer of Dora Lange. The duo subdue Betty and give chase to Errol, who leads the partners into a series of labyrinthian tunnels he has dubbed Carcosa, which is littered with devil's nests and human remains. Errol fights the detectives, critically injuring them both, before Rust manages to kill Errol. Marty comforts Rust as he begins to bleed out, but the duo are saved when Papania and Gilbough arrive with backup. The powerful Tuttle family manages to avoid any serious charges, but their reputation is forever tarnished. Marty is then visited by his estranged family, who are happy to see him alive and dubbed a hero. Sometime later, Rust emerges from his coma with Marty by his side. As Marty checks his old friend out of the hospital, Rust confesses that though his life had always felt like a losing battle with the darkness, he could finally feel the light starting to win.